Coming up, the latest as Carl Junction authorities investigate a report of shots fired in the Harps parking lot. And Southwest Missouri sees an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. How local health officials are pushing people to get vaccinated. Also, a Monette, Missouri man dies in a lawnmower crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Chris Warner. Grab your raincoats. Michael Hayslip joining us. I noticed it was a bit damp on the way in.
Is in sheets of rain coming down?
Sheets of dampness.
Chris, since it started, we've got places out in Labette County that have already picked up 5 to 6 inches of rain overnight. So we're going to have a whole lot of warnings and watches, and we'll get there in just a second. Here's a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker as we stand right now. It is still coming down like a deluge out there, and a fair amount of lightning to go along with it. Just trust me, look at all that lightning where it's heavy rain. It's not even worth putting on there because all it does is distract from the heavy pockets that's working in from the northwest down to the southeast. Doesn't really get any better as you transition into southwest Missouri. Now, we don't see the orange and the red, but it is widespread and it is nonstop, and we've got several more hours to go. Now, these watches and warnings, you're going to see a number of different colors here. Here's the most important thing. It's flash flooding and county-wide flooding, whether it be the turquoise or whether it be the lime green. And you'll notice it stretches all the way until 1 p.m. Big factor for this morning compared to where we started with these flash flood watches yesterday is we have had southward expansion into northeast Oklahoma and the southern portion of southwest Missouri. So it's pretty much all-encompassing. You can tell those actually run all the way down to Fort Smith. When we talk about the winds, we did pick up some 40-mile-an-hour gusts in Joplin. We are finally letting the high winds get out to our southeast. And you can tell right there where it splits. You see the V shape? That's an idea that the high wind is going to move off to the southeast of us. So far, no reports of any hail. Not too bad when you step outside, that's for sure. Temperatures in the high 60s right now, and you can tell from the national map, we are right in the midst of what's the hardest rain in the entire contiguous 48. So right now, Chris, the main thing is, because it's dark, let's go back, know the roads in your neighborhood, and just anticipate them already being underwater. We'll look at our precipitation totals here coming up in just a little bit, and keep open your Department of Transportation page. You can find links to all 4 states simply by going to KOAMnewsnow.com if you have any questions about possible roads you may not be familiar with on your Friday morning commute.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we mention it all the time, but turn around, don't drown.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Slip, thank you so much. Well, Jasper County authorities are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. The Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harp's grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. They're both in the hospital with what police are calling non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of the possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV. His passenger, another suspect, is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. Pittsburgh police arrest a robbery suspect. Authorities say last Thursday, 23-year-old Aaron Beard of Liberal, Missouri, showed a gun to a clerk at the Snack Attack convenience store and stole merchandise. Then the next day, police say Beard robbed someone at gunpoint in a room at the Regency Inn and Suites. Then Wednesday, officers responded to calls of suspicious activity at the La Quinta Inn and Suites. When they arrived, they found Beard and arrested him. And a Monette, Missouri man is dead following a zero-turn lawnmower crash Thursday evening. Missouri Highway Patrol says 72-year-old Raymond Haddock lost control of the lawnmower and overturned into a creek. Haddock was pronounced dead at the scene. An uptick in Missouri COVID-19 cases has led to a bigger push to get vaccinated. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services labels several southwest Missouri areas as COVID-19 hotspots, including Joplin and Jasper and Newton counties. The Jordan Valley Community Health Center held a vaccination clinic in Joplin to help reach those still hesitant about getting their shot.
A couple of the variants have shown up, and especially with this Delta variant that is going around right now, you're beginning to see more of a demand, from people And our job is to get our mobile vaccine unit out to make it as convenient as possible.
They say by doing outreach with their mobile vaccine unit, they hope to see more of Missouri's population vaccinated. The Joplin Health Department is bringing vaccines to the people. In this case, a large gathering of folks in downtown Joplin taking in Third Thursday. The health department hosted a walk-in vaccine clinic at the Arts and Entertainment Festival.
I think it's groundbreaking that we're just letting people have access any way that we can, and we're bringing it to the public, and we want it to be accessible to everyone.
The health department offered the Moderna vaccine. Southeast Kansas is also seeing rising cases of COVID-19, including cases of the Delta variant. Statewide, Kansas recently saw its highest 7-day average of new cases since March, around 350 cases per day. We spoke with the Wilson County health officer, who also practices family medicine, to hear about what she's seeing.
It is unfortunately starting to feel again like last year. So we hope that people recognize that we're better prepared. We know how to care for people. We know what we need to do. So we're hopeful that people will see what's happening now and already take those precautions to not continue to spread COVID.
Dr. McKinney says the cases involving vaccinated people are less severe than with vaccinated people. A portion of the highway in Newton County, Missouri now bears the name of a heroic firefighter. State Highway 43 between State Highway U and State Highway C will be known as the Firefighter Tyler H. Casey Memorial Highway. Casey's family was with the Missouri Governor Mike Parson when he signed the designation into law. Casey is credited with saving lives when a tornado moved through that area in May of 2008. He was a volunteer firefighter with the Seneca Area Fire Protection District, assigned to a post near the intersection of Highway 43 and Iris Road to help with storm spotting. He left his vehicle to alert a family parked on the side of the road. The family managed to escape, but Casey was struck by the tornado and died 2 days later. Casey is credited with saving the lives of at least 3 people. Missouri Governor Mike Parson has signed legislation for greater oversight of unlicensed residential care facilities for children. The measure comes after allegations of long-running abuse at some Missouri boarding schools. In March, Attorney General Eric Schmidt filed more than 100 criminal charges against the owners of the former Circle of Hope Girls Ranch in Cedar County. They've pleaded not guilty while awaiting trial. The legislation would require facilities like that to notify the state of their existence and undergo background checks for their personnel. Missouri students as soon as next year could have access to scholarships for private schools through a new tax credit program. Governor Parson signed the new program into law this week. Under the voucher-style program, private donors would give money to nonprofits that in turn would dole out scholarships to low-income families. Donors would get state tax credits equal to the amount they donate. Critics say such programs funnel money away from public schools by drawing students out of those districts, leading to a drop in attendance and a subsequent drop in funding. Guess what? It is 5:07.
All right, here's what we're looking at, Chris, for our rain accumulation numbers. We got places like Wilson County, even portions of Labette there. We're talking about anywhere from 5 to 6 inches. That goes back actually to about 6 o'clock last night. That's the time frame I'm putting on this. So that is no surprise about why we've got all our watches and warnings. They are flood specific. That is our greatest problem right now because we've got several more hours to pick up additional rainfall. Look at the heavy rain coming out of southeast Kansas right there, beginning to creep down into northeast Oklahoma, and even southwest Missouri not being spared from pockets of heavy rain, particularly in between Monette and Cassville. Lightning abound. And once again, let's just be prepared for flooded roads because we are already there, folks. 7-day forecast, we've got temperatures up into the mid-80s. Heat's not going to be the problem. Just a matter of trying to stay dry for today until those showers turn into the more scattered variety and much lighter variety for Saturday and Sunday.
Well, thank you. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a spike in cases.
The Delta variant could be slowing down the battle to win the war against COVID-19. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on how misinformation is leading to the rise in new COVID-19 cases and why a return to face mask mandates is on the way.
Plus, we have highlights of Day 2 of the Premier Baseball Junior National Tournament. And groundbreaking technology is helping paralyzed people walk and even drive. A look at the new tools helping people regain their independence. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Let's get
Yesterday was day 2 of the Premier Baseball Junior National Tournament. Good thing they squeezed it in before the rain, because you're going to have every field just about underwater by the time today's over. Webb City hit the field for the first game, hosting the Arlington A's red team. Tragan Parker, base hit to right. William Hayes comes in from second, and Webb takes an early 1-0 lead. Now, in the 4th inning, Parker not done. Triples to deep right. That's another RBI for him. Same inning, McQuaid Ellenstein finds grass and right. That's an RBI single. Here comes Cy Darnell. 4-run inning puts Webb City up 7-1. Parker, have a day. Have a day. We saw the single. We saw the triple. Ho-ho! Tack on a double for good measure. Ball game. Webb City rolls by the Arlington A's. Final score 9-1. Less than 2 weeks left of the Joplin Outlaws regular season. Right now, Joplin has lost their last 3 in a row, landing them at the bottom of the South Division standings, despite leading those same standings going into the All-Star break. Yesterday, they hosted the Nevada Griffins. Last matchup between these two teams in the regular season, Joplin 0-7 against Nevada. Off to a nice start, though, is Ethan Ellis. Singles. That brings in Brett Weimers and Caleb Forstake. They score, and the Outlaws jump out in the first inning. Gavin Hatelmus in command on the mound. 4 strikeouts through 2 innings, and with Nevada and runners on first and second, Ellis goes back to the fence and preserves the Outlaws' lead. Looked like he took it away from him. In the 3rd, 2 out, bases loaded. Jeb Jenkins deep into left center. Base clearing double. Outlaws up 5-0 at that point. And Joplin finishes the job. Gets their first win over Nevada this season. Final score 8-0. The last major of the year began yesterday. The Open Championship being held in Kent, England at the Royal St. George's Golf Club. Louis Oosthuizen, your first round leader, shot a 6-under for a 64. Americans Jordan Spieth and Brian Harman, they are tied for second, and action probably already underway over there in England. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a presidential meeting.
President Biden meets with the German chancellor in what's likely her final official visit to the White House. I'm Skylar Henry with more on the objectives from today's meeting.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News begins. Just past 5:17 on this Friday morning. Wanted to start with the Joplin Tower Cam from 7th and Range Line. Give you an idea of the heavy rain coming down just on the other side of the rain-splattered camera. We're picking up some real good tracks of lightning as well. Mother Nature not going to cooperate with us timing-wise on this. Let's get to the radar. Skywatch Storm Tracker with sheets of rain coming down, as they have been all late last night into the early morning hours, and lightning just spread out everywhere, especially on that line coming out of northwest southeast Kansas, working its way down across both state lines, headed toward Joplin and also headed toward Miami as everything dives off to the southeast. As far as warnings and watches go, it is all flood specific. The turquoise indicating the flash flood watch, and then the lime green indicating county-wide flood warnings. The flash flood watch is lasting until 1 o'clock this afternoon. The flood warnings, we'll see if they actually do expire at 11 a.m. as this system just continues to roll through. This is the heaviest rain that we're seeing right now in the United States, as our 24-hour rain accumulation is in excess of 5 to 6 inches in places of southeast Kansas, getting close to 5 inches up there in northern Vernon County and southwest Missouri as well. And we've got a couple more hours to go as the jet stream, remember, it was riding it up above the north of us yesterday. And once that stream continued to sink down right through us, that's what generated and let the thunderstorms back into our area. Weather trend for today, as I mentioned, we've got a long way to go here before the rain wants to finish out. Now, even as it does push through for this afternoon, we still have scattered showers that want to linger all the way from Saturday into Sunday. Certainly nothing like what we're seeing right now, but also want to warn that we're a long way from over. Know those roads are already flooded, and please plan accordingly. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, as at least 58% of all COVID-19 cases are now caused by the Delta variant, causing health officials to begin rethinking their decision to roll back many coronavirus restrictions. Kevin Cork has more on how face masks are making a comeback and what the federal government is partially blaming for the rise in infections.
The highly contagious Delta variant is putting the country back on red alert. It now accounts for more than half of all COVID-19 cases in the U.S. and is stalling progress to stamp out the virus, as the number of new cases and hospitalizations across several states is almost double what they were just last month.
Just wear the mask.
California is wasting no time trying to prevent the spread. Los Angeles County reinstating its mandatory indoor mask rules this weekend, forcing everyone, including those fully vaccinated, to cover up. But some worry all the back and forth will prevent more people from getting the shots.
If they're told, oh, it's going to work and you're going to be fine, and then you still have to wear the mask, they say, I think this really disincentivizes people to actually go out and get it.
Meanwhile,
today, we live in a world where misinformation poses an imminent and insidious threat to our nation's health.
the U.S. Surgeon General is calling on social media companies to step up efforts to combat COVID-19 misinformation, blaming the spread of false details for countless unnecessary deaths.
Modern technology companies have enabled misinformation to poison our information environment with little accountability to their users.
And now health experts are encouraging fully vaccinated Americans to continue to wear face masks if they have a compromised immune system. The thinking is that if you have a compromised immune system, the vaccine alone won't be as effective for you as it is for someone with a healthy immune system.
Our question to you is, do you still wear a mask in public? You can let us know by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll catch up your results, but not before Chris returns with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, one company's innovative devices are creating new opportunities for people who are disabled. Ashley Strohmeyer has more on how a collaboration with a paralyzed race car driver is creating hope that others like him will soon regain their mobility.
A traumatic accident is giving rise to new technology that could help improve the quality of life for the disabled. Race car driver Sam Schmidt never thought he'd get behind the wheel of a car ever again. It was after an accident 20 years ago that left him paralyzed from the neck down. But in time, Schmidt regained his need for speed, working with the company Aero Electronics to build a car that would let him or any other paralyzed person drive without the use of their arms or legs.
Literally, to that point in my life, there was really not a lot that I controlled.
Now using special motion sensing cameras connected to a headset, Schmidt can steer this specially designed vehicle in any direction by simply tilting his head. He's able to control the speed and brakes by blowing into a straw-like device, letting him reach speeds of more than 200 miles per hour.
I needed help for everything, so the fact that I'm steering it, I'm using the brake and the gas, and going as fast as I want is exhilarating.
But Aero Electronics technology isn't just helping Schmidt drive. The company also created an exoskeleton suit helping paralyzed people like Schmidt walk, or in this case, dance. You will cherish and you care. Like this moment where he takes the floor with his daughter at her wedding.
By far the best day in 21 years.
Schmidt also believes these tools will help paralyzed people all around the world regain their freedom by restoring their mobility and letting them get back to the hobbies and work that makes them happy. Well, a new review in the Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine finds people experiencing 5 or more symptoms of COVID-19 in their first week of infection may be more likely to develop long COVID. Researchers found those symptoms typically included fatigue, headache, and upper respiratory complaints that worsened in about 1/3 of patients weeks later. New research looks at the health impact for individuals living in cities with lead in their drinking water, even at low levels. Boston researchers found patients with poor kidney function had lower levels of red blood cells and were often prescribed higher doses of medications to treat anemia. Let's look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
A rainy Friday mess on our hands. When you consider the amount of rain that we've had overnight into this morning, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't get some readings that are close to 7-8 inches of rain by the time this system is over. Heavy, heavy lightning associated with it as well. And please remember that we have flash flood watches. That's that off turquoise, and then the lime green. Those are countywide flood warnings. They're set to expire at 11 a.m. We'll see if that's the case, because these are actually going to persist for several more hours. After that, they become more light and scattered, but the rain sticks around for Saturday and Sunday.
Coming up, the latest as Carl Junction authorities investigate a report of shots fired in the Harps parking lot. And Southwest Missouri sees an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. Local health officials are pushing people to get vaccinated. Also, a Monette, Missouri man dies in a lawnmower crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Chris Warner. It is raining. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but it is. There's water falling from the sky. Michael Hayes.
As evident from the tower cam there at 7th and Range Line, and also too, I was trying to pick up a lightning strike or two because it looked like it was hovering right over the intersection, almost to the point where it would just illuminate the camera. You couldn't really see where it was coming from, which gave me the impression that it was probably hanging right over the tower. But yeah, look at that thing just, I mean, coming down in sheets, and we're a long way from being over here. Look at the heavy rain working its way from northwestern portion of southeast Kansas, now into northeast Oklahoma, and right on top of Joplin with a spot of red, right where that intersection that we were looking at is, and moving into southern southwest Missouri as well. Since midnight, we've seen places that have picked up 5 inches. If you want to go back to 6 p.m. last night, we're already looking about 7 to 8 inches in parts of southeast Kansas, and the lightning just continuing to wreak havoc on that one good line of thunderstorm activity. So of course, we've got flash flood watches. There's a new one that just popped up right there. That'll usually mean an extension of time. Actually, it's just going to be able to spread right there all the way into central southwest Missouri right now. Now the lime green, those are countywide flood warnings. Remember, watch means it's got a good chance of happening. A warning, that means it's imminent. It's going on right now, because when we talk about these accumulation numbers, anywhere from 5 to 7 inches, especially that little pocket that you see right there in between Independence and Chanute, where it goes from orange to red to purple. And when we talk about our weather trend, we've got several more hours to keep picking up rain. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s today. And as this thing rolls through during, excuse me, the afternoon hours, then we get more sporadic and scattered showers. But the important thing being, we're going to be underwater as it is. And so the fact that we pick up any more rain for Friday afternoon into Saturday, whether it be the scattered variety or not, that's the last thing we're going to need coming off of what has transpired from yesterday evening all the way to right now.
It's kind of crazy how fast the waters can rise around the area. You know, it catches you off guard sometimes.
This one got on it now.
It did, and it's not letting go right now.
No, when it decided, whoa,
that was a good That was a good one.
Sorry, folks, that was on me for not transitioning back to the tower cam.
That was a good one, though. I mean, that's
what Chris and I were going whoa about.
So you got to, and that's the other thing you got to keep in mind. Not only do we have the flash flooding, but we've also got quite a bit of lightning with these storms. A lot of electricity out there.
Yeah, best thing. I tell you what, you stay away from metal structures, folks. Stay away.
Michael, thank you so much. Well, Jasper County authorities are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harps grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Now, investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. They're both in the hospital with what police are calling non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of the possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV. His passenger, another suspect, is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. A Monette man is dead following a zero-turn lawnmower crash Thursday evening. The Missouri Highway Patrol says 72-year-old Raymond Haddock lost control of the lawnmower and overturned into a creek. Haddock was pronounced dead at the scene. An uptick in Missouri COVID-19 cases has led to a bigger push to get vaccinated. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services labels Southwest Missouri areas as COVID-19 hotspots. That includes Joplin and Jasper-Newton counties. The Jordan Valley Community Health Center held a vaccination clinic in Joplin to help reach those still hesitant about getting their shot.
Have shown up, and especially with this Delta variant that is going around right now, you're beginning to see more of a demand, from people. And our job is to get our mobile vaccine unit out to make it as convenient as possible.
Now, they say by doing outreach with their mobile vaccine unit, they hope to see more of Missouri's population vaccinated. Southeast Kansas is also seeing a rise in cases of COVID-19, including that Delta variant. Statewide, Kansas recently saw its highest 7-day average of new cases since March, around 350 cases per day. Now, we spoke with the Wilson County health officer who also practices family medicine to hear about what she's seeing.
It is unfortunately starting to feel again like last year. So we hope that people recognize that we're better prepared. We know how to care for people. We know what we need to do. So we're hopeful that people will see what's happening now and already take those precautions to not continue to spread COVID.
Now, Dr. McKinney says the cases involving vaccinated people are less severe than with unvaccinated people. Well, some Kansans on unemployment will now have to take some additional steps to receive their money. The state legislature passed My Reemployment Plan. It's aimed at getting out-of-work Kansans back in the workforce. The people receiving benefits for 3 continuous weeks must submit their resume through kansasworks.com. They also must complete and submit a job search plan form.
Encourages the person filling out the form to develop a plan for reemployment. It walks through an interest assessment, which gauges maybe some careers or some sectors a person is interested in, and then drills down based on that interest to specific jobs.
The unemployed Kansans who don't complete the steps could lose their unemployment benefits. Future doctors who will serve our region's medical needs are taking care of some other community service projects first. KCU is hosting its We Care Day. Now, during the first week of orientation at the medical school, doctors team up with area nonprofits to give back by completing a variety of service projects.
We Care Day is held by the Kansas City University College of Osteopathic Medicine, and it is where different groups of incoming students go around campus and we find different ways to serve our entire community.
Thursday, student doctors lent a hand walking and bathing dogs and cuddling puppies at the Joplin Humane Society. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, the entire staff at a Burger King in Nebraska making a big statement about their jobs on the restaurant's sign. Plus, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and President Biden delivered joint remarks on the heels of her visit to the White House. We'll have the latest on the meeting, but first it is 5:37.
Here we go, outside of 7th and Range Line, where the rain just continues to fall, and we've picked up some impressive lightning strikes here. And Skywatch Storm Tracker with extreme heavy rain. This is if we zoom in right here, that's what the tower cam was picking up, those little spots of red that you see coming over Joplin, making their way toward Carthage and Diamond, transition into southeast Kansas. This is where the heavy rain originated from, up to the northwest, and has now moved. I don't want to say it crept over the state line. This thing's booking it. Now, usually that's a good sign. You say, get out of here quick. Well, unfortunately, there's a whole lot more to come that's going to make its way down through Miami, Grove, Veneta area. So know that roads and rivers are already flooded. We'll be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, yesterday marked the first time President Biden has hosted the leader of a European nation at the White House. He and German Chancellor Angela Merkel signed commitments stating their two countries would continue to work together on a range of topics, which include respect for human rights and tackling the threat of climate change. Skylar Henry is at the White House with more.
The president welcomed German Chancellor Angela Merkel for what's likely to be her final White House visit before she steps down in the coming weeks.
Both our nations understand the imperative of proving that democracies can deliver the needs of our people
Mr. Biden is the fourth U.S. president the German leader has worked with during her 16 years in office, and their meeting was seen as less contentious than her run-ins with the previous president.
I consider a personal friend.
The two countries are now looking to collaborate on a range of issues in the years ahead, from the pandemic and economic recovery to global security and climate change.
We all share the same values. We all share the same determination to tackle the challenges of our times.
Emerging challenges from China and Russia were also on the agenda, as well as U.S. concerns over the Russia Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which connects to Germany.
Russia must not be allowed to use energy as a weapon to coerce or threaten its neighbors.
During their joint news conference, the president addressed key domestic issues, including the two-track infrastructure plans working their way through Congress.
I'm supremely confident that everything's going to work out perfectly.
Earlier, Vice President Kamala Harris hosted the German leader for a working breakfast. The White House said they discussed climate change, emerging technology, and the root causes of migration. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The president also addressed the situations brewing in the Caribbean during the joint news conference. On Haiti, he said sending U.S. troops is not on the agenda. President Biden also called communism a universally failed system as it relates to the protests in Cuba, and added his administration is looking into whether it can reinstate internet access there. At least 42 people are dead and dozens missing after flooding and record rains across Western Europe. Homes are destroyed, cars are damaged, and people were left stranded on rooftops. Some people were forced from their homes, and about 200,000 people lost power. Hundreds of soldiers and roughly 2,500 relief workers assisted police with rescue efforts in Germany. The intense weather has caused the country's worst mass loss of life in years. That's a look at some of the biggest headlines from around the world. Now we're going to talk it over. We're going to talk it over with Michael. What are we talking over with you today?
Before we get there, Chris, you were talking about the European flooding. I got a quick update on our flooding as well. We've got a new one that popped out. We were talking about watches and warnings, right?
Yeah.
Flash flood watch. There's a possibility. We now have flash flood warnings for not only Vernon County, Missouri, but also Bourbon County, Kansas. This is going to be this dark green that you see right here. Obviously, Vernon and Bourbon are going to encompass Nevada and Fort Scott. That's a flash flood warning. That is until 8:15 this morning. As now we've got roads that are already flooding in Fort Scott, Fulton, Deerfield, and that's going to be the low water crossing at the West Fork and Pryor Creek. So please know that the flash flood warning means it is already happening. We're going to come back, catch up with our poll question here in just a little bit. But first, the news you need to know before you head out the door, right back after this.
Today's top headlines, here we are. The news you need to know before you head out the door. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to be questioned on Saturday in connection with the probe into allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct against him. It's according to a source familiar with the New York Attorney General's investigation into the governor. Cuomo also faces an impeachment inquiry in the state assembly. Jasper County authorities are searching for two suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harp's grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV as passenger. Another suspect is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. A Monette man is dead following a zero-turn lawnmower crash Thursday evening. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, 72-year-old Raymond Haddock lost control of the lawnmower and overturned into a creek. Haddock was pronounced dead at the scene. An uptick in Missouri COVID-19 cases has led to a bigger push to get vaccinated. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services labels Southwest Missouri areas as COVID-19 hotspots, including Joplin and Jasper-Newton counties. Jordan Valley Community Health Center held a vaccination clinic in Joplin to help reach those still hesitant about getting their shot. They say by doing outreach with their mobile vaccine unit, they hope to see more of Missouri's population vaccinated. And that is a check of today's top headlines, news you need to know before you head out the door.
No respite from the rain on this Friday. Heavy downpours continue as they generate up to the northwest and southeast Kansas. and have now squarely worked their way across the Oklahoma and Missouri state lines. Very, very heavy rain to go along with a fair amount of lightning. And then as we transition up to the north here, do not want to ignore what's happening around the Fort Scott, Nevada area, because that has been constant ever since last night. Give you an idea of the amount of lightning that's also being thrown down by this system. Make sure you are careful and try to limit that time outside. Be wary of your surroundings. Stay away from anything that is going to be metal. When we talk about our watches and warnings, flash flood watches indicated in the turquoise. We've got flood warnings countywide for that lime green. And then we were just talking about that Fort Scott, Nevada area. Well, that's going to be Vernon County, Missouri, and Bourbon County in southeast Kansas. Well, that is a flash flood warning. That means it is currently already happening. You know, those roads flooded right now. Please, please, please stay away from them. As far as what we're looking at, accumulation-wise, if you go back the past 24 hours when this thing started yesterday, we've seen in excess of 6 to 7 inches in portions of southeast Kansas right there. As far as what we've got for this afternoon, the rain's going to last for several more hours, and even after the big thunderstorm system dips off to the southeast, we still have to put up with the scattered variety that sticks around for Friday night into Saturday. And so that's not going to help us at all get rid of those flooding concerns. Temperatures back up into the high 80s with scattered rain chances on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be right back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
You may be familiar with Mutiny on the Bounty, but what about Mutiny at the Burger King? It's a way of quitting a job that most of us only dream of. A group of fast food workers arranged the letters on the side outside the Burger King, like you see right here, to express their true feelings. Jan Moose reports.
The Burger King himself would definitely disapprove of the sign created by his underlings. "We all quit. Sorry for the inconvenience," read the message outside this Lincoln, Nebraska Burger King.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us.
What did upset the staff here were the working conditions they described, like broken AC in the kitchen, pushing temperatures into the 90s.
It's just so hot in there.
Manager Rachel Flores says she ended up at the hospital getting fluids for dehydration. When she gave 2 weeks' notice, so did 8 of her staff. It was at the end of that period that their message to management went up.
We wanted a big laugh to them, so the whole "we all quit" was mainly to them.
With "sorry for the inconvenience" to customers. The sign went viral. Posted one commenter, "I have nothing but respect and an unfortunate craving for an egg and cheese croissant." But others thought it was the workers who had egg on their face. Little kids crying, "Get over it, welcome to being an adult." It was around 6 in the morning when Flores, the manager, helped another resigning worker change the letters on the sign.
It was just more or less taking turns, you know, because it's actually kind of tiring putting the letters up there.
A few hours later, she got a call from upper management.
And he told me I needed to have it taken down. Told him that I couldn't do that because we were short-staffed and lunch was just starting.
Soon another boss came asking for her key and her card. Burger King released a statement. The work experience described at this location is not in line with our brand values. Our franchisee is looking into this situation to ensure this doesn't happen in the future. After a total of about 6 hours, the "We All Quit" sign was replaced with "Now hiring, flexible schedules." When it came to quitting their jobs, these workers decided to have it their way.
Have it your way.
You know, maybe we should give that a try. Like, we'll just leave right now. I don't think it goes so well.
It's pouring outside.
Well, we could stand. All right, we're going to stay.
So when I first saw this story last week, 2 things crossed my mind. Number one, Burger King's response. Boy, you won't talk about the corporate PR line. Holy moly.
Yeah.
To make sure our franchisee is looking into it to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, apparently
it maybe shouldn't have happened in the first place.
I mean, you know, no air conditioning in the building, 90 degrees in the kitchen. No.
So the other thing I think about is, can you imagine being the business next door and watching, I don't want to say kid, watching this young person, begin to put the letters up on the marquee. And, every 5 minutes, you look out your storefront, you're like, I wonder what's special they're running. And eventually when the person's done, you go, that's a joke, right? And then you just see a line of people walking out.
No, see, that's the special of the day, though.
Oh, I wonder what the second shift thought when they showed up to work. They're like,
I mean, based on what they're saying, I don't think there was a second.
It sounded like she did a good job organizing everybody.
That was it.
All right, I got to be a man of my word, Chris, and catch up with the Instapoll here because coming off of new information that at least 58% of all COVID-19 cases are now caused by the Delta variant. So our Friday morning Instapoll question is, do you still wear a mask in public? Right now, 49% of you say no, not wearing it in public anymore. 38% say yeah, maybe you kept on wearing it or went back to wearing it. And then 13% saying didn't wear them in the first place. And you can make your voice heard each and every morning by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let's come back, update the Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this. So here's the latest developments from the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Number one is the big southerly push of the very heavy rain into northeast Oklahoma, encompassing Delaware and Ottawa counties right now. It has also gotten into McDonald County, just absolutely pouring in the Pineville area, moving just on the other side of Joplin, south of I-44. Then as we transition up to the north, while Fort Scott's still getting pounded, the heaviest rain now throughout Vernon and Barton counties moving off to the east. We'll come back and continue to update any new watches and warnings right after this.
Coming up, the latest as Carl Junction authorities investigate a report of shots fired in the Harps parking lot. And Southwest Missouri sees an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. Local health officials are pushing people to get vaccinated. Also, a Monette man dies in a lawnmower crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6 a.m. I'm Chris Warner. It is raining, and it is still raining, and that's actually leading to some pretty serious flood concerns out there.
Looking at that picture behind you in the monitor wall with the dry field and the sun rising, and
that is not what this morning looks like.
It's gonna be a while before we get back to that, huh?
At least a few hours, right?
Yeah, at least, yeah. All right, 7th and range line, Chris. It's still coming down sideways here. And the scary thing is, see that you can catch that rain at the street light right there. You can tell it's coming down at an angle with lightning off in the distance as we look over 7th and range line there. The scary thing is that this is actually lightened up a little bit, considering what we had 20 minutes ago at the exact same location. The heavy rain has started out in northwest southeast Kansas from last night. It has now squarely made its way across the Oklahoma state line, encompassing just about all of our highlighted counties throughout NEOK. Also, too, progressing to the south of I-44 through Newton and McDonald County, extreme heavy rain in the Pineville area, and now moving east toward Monette. So that's what we've got in the west and in the south. Transition up to the north, it has just been an absolute pummeling for both Bourbon and Vernon counties, and southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri, respectively. Of course, those would include Fort Scott and Nevada. Look at the lightning everywhere you go and see strikes. And so make sure you're very wary of your surroundings should you need to step outside. Flash flood watches are indicated in that dull turquoise color. The lime green indicates a countywide flood warning. And new this morning, we were just talking about Vernon and Bourbon counties. See that little dark green in there? Well, that is flash flood warning. That means it's imminent and it's happening right now, as we've seen anywhere from 6 to 7 inches of rain since last night. And quite a ways from being over, too. Temperatures today going to be in the low to mid 80s. But even after the heavier rain passes through us, say around the noon hour, look at this. We've got to put up with the scattered variety, albeit very, very less intense than what we had this morning, but it still does persist into the weekend as our temperatures are back into the high 80s. But the most important thing right now, Chris, is knowing that the roads, I'm not going to say they're going to flood, they are flooded.
Yeah.
We're there.
That rainfall, that much rainfall, definitely.
That quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into some minor flash flooding on the way in this morning, and that was 3:30 in the morning.
So in particular, I was looking at that surrounding area of Parsons and Labette County. That's the Neosho. That Neosho River, and we got to remember, then you got a day before, you got half a day before it gets to Oswego. You got another half a day before it gets to Miami. We're going to see river flood warnings run all the way through the weekend.
And it's important for people to remember that, too, that just because the rain stops doesn't mean the flood threat is stopped.
Rivers ain't stopping.
No, they're not. And, of course, we say it all the time. Turn around, don't drown.
Thank you, sir.
You got to do that. Michael, thank you so much. Well, Jasper County authorities are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. The Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harp's grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. They're both in the hospital with what police are calling non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of the possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV. His passenger, another suspect, is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. Pittsburgh police arrest a robbery suspect. Authorities say last Thursday, 23-year-old Aaron Beard of Liberal, Missouri, showed a gun to a clerk at the Snack Attack convenience store and stole merchandise. Then the next day, police say Beard robbed someone at gunpoint in a room at the Regency Inn and Suites. Then on Wednesday, officers responded to calls of suspicious activity at the La Quinta Inn and Suites. When they arrived, they found Beard and arrested him. A Monette man is dead following a zero-turn lawnmower crash Thursday evening. The Missouri Highway Patrol says 72-year-old Raymond Haddock lost control of the lawnmower and overturned into a creek. Haddock was pronounced dead at the scene. An uptick in Missouri COVID-19 cases has led to a bigger push to get vaccinated. Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services labels several southwest Missouri areas as COVID-19 hotspots. That does include Joplin and Jasper and Newton counties. The Jordan Valley Community Health Center held a vaccination clinic in Joplin to help reach those still hesitant about getting their shot.
A couple of the variants have shown up, and especially with this Delta variant that is going around right now, you're beginning to see more of a demand, from people. And our job is to get our mobile vaccine unit out to make it as convenient as possible.
They say by doing outreach with their mobile vaccine unit, they hope to see more of Missouri's population vaccinated. Well, Southeast Kansas also seeing rising cases of COVID-19, which includes cases of the Delta variant. Now, statewide, Kansas recently saw its highest 7-day average of new cases since March. It was around 350 cases per day. So we spoke with Wilson County Health Officer, who also practices family medicine, to hear about what she's seeing.
It is unfortunately starting to feel again like last year. So we hope that people recognize that we're better prepared. We know how to care for people. We know what we need to do. So we're hopeful that people will see what's happening now and already take those precautions to not continue to spread COVID.
Dr. McKinney says the cases involving vaccinated people are less severe than with unvaccinated people. The Kansas State Board of Education says critical race theory is not part of the state's academic standards, despite claims by an unnamed candidate for office. Board Chairman Jim Porter from Fredonia said it was important for the board to issue a statement, partly because he had read a comment from a candidate for office that inaccurately claimed that critical race theory is being taught in Kansas schools. A board member, Gene Clifford, said not commenting on the issue could be interpreted as a statement in itself. The board approved the statement on Wednesday. Missouri Governor Mike Parson has signed legislation for greater oversight of unlicensed residential care facilities for children. The measure comes after allegations of long-running abuse at some Missouri boarding schools. Now, in March, Attorney General Eric Schmidt filed more than 100 criminal charges against the owners of the former Circle of Hope Girls Ranch in Cedar County. They've pleaded not guilty while awaiting trial. The legislation would require facilities like that to notify the state of their existence and undergo background checks for their personnel. It is now, according to the clock, 6:07.
All right, Chris, we're temperature-wise mid-80s, and just looking at tomorrow, actually. Excuse me, it's going to be humid tomorrow. Anyway, let's get back to the lecture at hand, and that is the flooding that we've got going on as we have several more hours of heavy rain as it makes its way out of the northwest portion of our highlighted counties down through northeast Oklahoma, southern southwest Missouri, and of course we're still eyeballing what's going on. And right now, spread to the northern part of Crawford County, the heavy rain. So you got Bourbon and Crawford there in southeast Kansas, and just on the other side of the state line, Vernon and Barton counties. So we've got a little Friday morning mess on our hands. And once again, I reiterate, we are flooded already. We're flooding right now, and we've got about 5 more hours to go.
Not something that we're looking forward to, Michael. Thank you. And that is a look at this morning's top stories and weather, of course, in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, long-term symptoms.
New hope for COVID long haulers. I'm Tina Kraus with a new blood test that could detect who's at risk.
Plus, a lifeguard shortage across the country means it now pays big to protect the pool. How a jump in wages that has more lifeguards diving in. And we visit with a up-and-coming fashion stylist and how she founded her own business in the middle of the pandemic. You are watching the KOAM Morning News. It is more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, businesses across the nation are struggling to find enough employees, and the lack of workers is even being felt at pools and beaches with a lifeguard shortage. But Bradley Blackburn explains why help may be on the way.
Melanie Arevalo is just one class away from protecting the pool.
I want to be set and just ready and prepared.
She signed up for certification at Lifeguard Training New York because lifeguards are pulling in higher wages.
If you're 16, it's pretty good.
Across the country, lifeguard pay is going up due to a major shortage. The lack of guards has even kept some pools closed this summer.
You guys have been running classes nonstop.
Nonstop. 4, 3.
But head instructor Nikki Berg says certification classes here are now filled, and the pay raise is why many are diving into the seasonal job.
It's going up from $17 to $25, and we just actually posted about a job, $30 in the Hamptons, a day camp. Hello.
It's not just New York. Massachusetts is offering state lifeguards a $500 bonus, and in Texas, wages are up 30%.
This school has trained nearly 2,000 lifeguards in 8 different states this year, and they say nearly all of them have found jobs.
Scott Benson is back in the pool. The 41-year-old dad lifeguarded in college.
I can't even remember what they paid then.
I bet it wasn't $20 an hour.
No, I don't think so.
Keep going, keep going.
Many of these trainees already have work lined up once they pass the test. It will be Attila Noret's first job.
I really like helping people.
Go.
And it helps that it's never paid better. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Rockville Center, New York.
A wheat shortage in the U.S. could mean you're going to be paying more for a slice of pizza. Now, the crop shortage is the result of drought in the northern plains. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says spring wheat is down 41% from last year. That's the lowest in 33 years. And that all could mean an increase in menu prices for consumers. Next week's Blue Origin flight with Jeff Bezos will have the oldest and youngest people ever to travel to space. An anonymous bidder paid $28 million for a seat on the first flight, had to postpone their trip due to a scheduling conflict. I can't imagine what's more important than flying to space, but replacing them will be an 18-year-old Oliver Damon, a Dutch student whose family had bid and won a seat on the second flight. 82-year-old aerospace pioneer Wally Funk will also be on board. Hey, just in time for World Emoji Day tomorrow, emoji maker Unicode is out with its finalists for a new update. A saluting face, biting lip, and low battery are among the possible candidates that will be decided on in September. The updates to smartphones will come early next year. Unicode says the final list will likely be similar to what's been announced, which means nearly all person emojis will have a gender-neutral option. That low battery emoji is definitely me right now. That's it for Money Watt. That's exactly why. We're going to be right back.
Rolling up on 617 for our weather on the 7s, and the rain is actually beginning to lighten up there at 7th and Range Line. Of course, that is certainly not the case in other portions of the 4 states. To the Skywatch Storm Tracker we go. All right, let's work from northwest down to southeast because that's where the heavy rain originated from last night. So we're still seeing it in Montgomery County, then through Labette County, and then northeast Oklahoma right now is just getting dominated with the heavy rain. As we transition into southwest Missouri, we were talking about it lightening up in Joplin. Now, everything's pushed south of I-44, and so we've got Newton, we've got McDonald, we've got Lawrence, we've got Barry, everybody just getting hammered down there with the rain that is torrential, to say the least. Then as we transition up to the north, especially for Bourbon and Crawford counties in southeast Kansas, Vernon and Barton counties in southwest Missouri. And the thing about this, you're not seeing the red right there, you're seeing the yellow, which still indicates obviously heavy rain, but also too, it's the amount of rain that's been going on since yesterday in those specific counties. Our lightning is also dying down. That's great news. That is great news. That means this thing is lessening in intensity as it progresses off to the southeast. But with that being said, we still do have flash flood watches for the turquoise. Then you see the lime green. Those are flood warnings countywide. That means it's happening right now. And then as we go up into Fort Scott and Nevada, where you see that darker green right there, that is a flash flood warning. We already have roads that are underwater. This is going to persist for a couple more hours, so I want everybody on their toes. Go ahead and plan accordingly. Know that chances are, if you have a road in your area that floods, it is already underwater. All right, think back to when you were about 19 years old. What were you doing with your life? Maybe studying in college, maybe working your first full-time job. Well, for Bourbon County native Addie Lobby, it was the year she founded her own fashion business. It's called Styles by Addie. Now that can be an intimidating prospect in the midst of a pandemic, but thanks to a little bit of innovation and a little help from her friends, she not only persevered, she's found success.
20-year-old Addie Lobby has been in the fashion business for almost as long as she can remember.
I've been traveling with my mother for 15 years, ever since I was like 5 or 4, and we've been traveling and selling jewelry, so I've always been in this business.
So literally, since kindergarten, she has been designing jewelry.
Addie spends most of her day here, designing and crafting the items her mother sells to boutiques all over the country. But in her off hours, she started a business of her own.
Hi guys, welcome back. So today I have my beautiful model, Kinley, of course. She's always with me, and we are going to show you lots of cute outfits, plus this one I am wearing right here and hers. I know you guys have seen this jacket, and I know you love it because I also love it.
Every Wednesday at 5, Addie and her friends sell clothing and jewelry through Facebook Live.
It's been a very interesting ride.
It's been a lot.
Yeah, it's a very big learning curve, but it's super fun. The transition from the first live to our most recent live, it's like way more smoother and way more confident.
Yeah, the first one we're like, yeah, these are our clothes. And then that was really it. But now we've really gotten into the groove of it, and it's just smooth.
Running an entire storefront through a digital space may seem unorthodox, but for Addie, it's the only way it made sense.
This is a better avenue for me because we live in the middle of nowhere. We're a homegrown business. We're like a family business, and instead of like having people come here, then we can just sell online. But if you just sell online on a website, no one gets to see the clothing. I've been doing this for a long time, and I realized how much I love putting together outfits and finding things that look good on all body types.
Even as she forges her own path forward, the young entrepreneur's not afraid to wear her inspiration on her sleeve.
And I think she's around so many women-owned businesses, and they empower other women, and they have also given her the confidence to take off and do her own thing.
And the confidence to succeed.
I see it going pretty big.
I'm hoping. I see it going fantastic, honestly.
Business was to save some money for college. But with all of her success, Addie says that plan may have some changes in the future. You can find a link to Styles by Addie in this story. That's on our morning page. All you have to do is go to KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, researchers in England are developing a simple blood test that could tell if you're a COVID-19 long hauler. An estimated 1 in 20 people who suffered from the disease are dealing with long-term symptoms. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
Hi guys, how was school?
As a busy working mom, Lucy Adams needs all the energy she can get. But the 44-year-old from Scotland says she feels twice her age after catching COVID last year.
I've been ill for 8.
The BBC reporter kept a video diary of her struggles with long COVID, including pain, vertigo, migraines, and blurred vision.
I look fine on the outside, but obviously there's still a problem. I've been off work for almost a year.
Scientists at Imperial College London found autoantibodies which attack healthy cells in the blood of a small number of people with long COVID.
The pilot data we have says that you really can pick up different patterns of autoimmunity in people who have long COVID.
Even though millions of people around the world are living with lingering COVID symptoms, there's no test to diagnose long COVID. Researchers say these findings could change that.
I'd hope that within 6 months we'd have a simple blood test that you could get.
The initial study was small, only looking at blood from dozens of people. Researchers will now scale that up to learn even more. Lucy says she's starting to get her life back, but worries it may never be like it was before COVID. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Now, experts say long COVID can develop from any form of the infection, whether it was mild, severe, or even asymptomatic. The condition affects people of all ages, including children and people who were previously fit and healthy. Your morning cup of coffee of maybe lowering your risk of a COVID-19 infection. Regular consumption of 1 or more cups of coffee a day was associated with a 10% lower risk of developing COVID-19 as compared to those who drank less than 1 cup of coffee a day. The team did not determine why this occurs, but they believe the antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties of coffee may contribute to this link. Further research will be needed to determine why this association occurs. And I have several cups of coffee in the morning, and I don't know of anybody who has less than 1 cup of coffee. Even Michael is having a full cup of coffee. I don't know how you have less than 1. Well, let's look at today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, and now here is Michael at 6:27.
We've got dangerous driving conditions out there because of our flooded roads as we have torrential rainfall encompassing the entire 4-state area. Nobody's been able to get out unscathed so far, as flash flood warnings and watches will persist all the way into the afternoon areas. Right now, we still got a little bit coming out of the northwest, and as it progresses from Fredonia down to Independence, dominates northeast Oklahoma. The heavier rain in Joplin has now moved to the south side of I-44 and rolls through portions of Newton, McDonald, Berry, Lawrence counties. And then up to the north, we've been watching this one that's making its way in between Fort Scott, Nevada, and Pittsburgh and Lamar. This one's progressing from west to east. So just about done there in Bourbon and Crawford counties, but then it's just going to pour down in Vernon and Barton counties. We'll be back and update our watches and warnings right after this.
Coming up, the latest as Carl Junction authorities investigate a report of shots fired in the Harps parking lot. And Southwest Missouri sees an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. How local health officials are pushing people to get vaccinated. Also, a Monette man dies in a lawnmower crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:30 a.m. I'm Chris Warner. It is still raining, and just checking on some stuff. We had a message that supposedly been several water rescues in the Parsons area and Highway 400.
You were saying Highway 400,
yeah,
right?
Pretty bad shape.
You know, and really when we get to the rain accumulation numbers, Chris, I'll kind of point that out, especially in that Labette County Parsons area. That does look like it received the most in the past 24 hours. And you and I were talking earlier about the Neosho River. I don't think it's any coincidence that, of course, the Neosho would run right over 400, then down to 160, and then head toward the Oklahoma state line. Now, I'll tell you what, we are going to get a little bit of a break here. We got several hours to go, and I know this site is of little reprieve for everybody down to the south. But earlier, this is 7th and Range Line in Joplin. Chris and I were watching not only the rain come down sideways, but also lightning illuminating the skies. So it is just a little bit calmer in Joplin right now. But like I said, that's of little consequence for everybody down to the south. as we've got heavy thunderstorm activity pounding northeast Oklahoma and then in southwest Missouri making its way to the south portion of I-44, especially through Newton, Berry, and McDonald counties. We've also been tracking this one in the yellow and a little dot of orange across Fort Scott into Nevada and Pittsburgh into Lamar. That square right there is moving from east to west, about to just make its way across the state line, and they are going to have additional flooding concerns on top of what's already flooded in portions of Vernon and Barton counties. Then we've got out in Montgomery County, a good one coming down in Independence, and that one's going to move south into the northeast Oklahoma area here. In the next hour, lightning just filling our Friday, July 16th skies. Okay, so the dark turquoise there is going to be the flash flood watch, the lime green flood warnings, and then that dark area right in the lime green, that is a flash flood warning. So flooding, our number one concern. And Chris, this is what I was talking about right in here on 400. I'm going to wait for exact airport totals on that, but I'm going to say we're cruising 6-7 inches right there. So that's that area Chris was talking about. You can see right on 169 as well. So anybody in the Parsons area, you're experiencing it. I understand that. Anybody in the surrounding areas that needs to go through Parsons to Parsons, plan accordingly. Maybe even put it off for the day. And I want safety to be our number one concern on this Friday. It's going to be late morning, early afternoon until this dips off, and even after that, it sticks around in the scattered variety, albeit nothing like what we're seeing right now, but chances for rain persist into the weekend. A little bit of a warm-up, not worried about temperatures right now, worried about making sure everybody gets from point A to point B. Go ahead and give me the line, my man.
Yep, can't emphasize it enough. Turn around, don't drown.
Thank you very
That's
much.
the most important thing to remember. Michael, thank you so much. Well, Jasper County authorities are searching for 2 suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. Now, the Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harp's grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. They're both in the hospital with what police are calling non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Now, Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of the possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV. His passenger, another suspect, is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. Well, a Monette man is dead following a zero-turn lawnmower crash Thursday evening. The Missouri Highway Patrol says 72-year-old Raymond Haddock lost control of the lawnmower and overturned into a creek. Haddock was pronounced dead at the scene. And an uptick in Missouri COVID-19 cases has led to a bigger push to get vaccinated. Now, the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services labels several southwest Missouri areas as COVID-19 hotspots, including Joplin and Jasper and Newton counties. The Jordan Valley Community Health Center held a vaccination clinic in Joplin to help reach those still hesitant about getting their shot.
A couple of the variants have shown up, and especially with this Delta variant that is going around right now, you're beginning to see more of a demand, from people. And our job is to get our mobile vaccine unit out to make it as convenient as possible.
And they say by doing outreach with their mobile vaccine unit, they hope to see more of Missouri's population vaccinated. Southeast Kansas also seen a rise of COVID-19 cases, including that Delta variant. Now, statewide, Kansas recently saw its highest 7-day average of new cases since March. It was around 350 cases per day. We spoke with the Wilson County health officer, who also practices family medicine, to hear about what she's seeing.
It is unfortunately starting to feel again like last year. So we hope that people recognize that we're better prepared. We know how to care for people. We know what we need to do. So we're hopeful that people will see what's happening now and already take those precautions to not continue to spread COVID.
Dr. McKinney says the cases involving vaccinated people are less severe than with unvaccinated people. Some Kansans on unemployment will now have to take some additional steps to receive their money. The state legislature passed the My Reemployment Plan. It's aimed at getting out of work Kansans back in the workforce. People receiving benefits for 3 continuous weeks must submit their resume through kansasworks.com. They must also complete and submit a job search plan form.
is the person filling out the form to develop a plan for reemployment. It walks through an interest assessment, which gauges maybe some careers or some sectors a person is interested in, and then drills down based on that interest to specific jobs.
Now, unemployed Kansans who don't complete the steps could lose their unemployment benefits. Missouri students as soon as next year could have access to scholarships for private school through a new tax credit program. Governor Parsons signed the new program into law this week. Now, under the voucher-style program, private donors would give money in nonprofits that in turn would dole out scholarships to low-income families. Donors would get state tax credits equal to the amount they donate. Critics say such programs funnel money away from public schools by drawing students out of those districts, leading to a drop in attendance and a subsequent drop in funding. Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to be questioned on sexual harassment claims over the weekend. Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we are asking, do you still wear a mask in public? We're going to let you weigh in. But first, it is now 6:37.
Coming off of what started yesterday and took us through the early morning hours and continues here at 6:37, we are flooded, and we will continue to be that way as heavy rain tracks along and south of I-44, followed by pockets of what's still coming down at a torrential clip throughout southeast Kansas and now moving into northern southwest Missouri. We'll keep you updated on wall watches and warnings, especially on the Skywatch weather app. Come back with Nation Watch next.
Nothing feels.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to be questioned on Saturday in connection with the probe into allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct against him. That's according to a source familiar with the New York Attorney General's investigation into the governor. Cuomo also faces an impeachment inquiry in the state assembly. A scathing new report blames the FBI for mistakes and delays in investigating sexual abuse allegations against former USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar. The Justice Department found FBI agents learned of the allegations in 2015, but waited more than a year before opening an investigation. During that time, Nassar abused dozens of gymnasts. Nassar is currently serving what amounts to a lifetime in prison. Facebook says it has disrupted a group of hackers targeting the U.S. military. The hackers reportedly created fake social media profiles and sent malicious links to victims in an attempt to spy on Western defense contractors and military personnel. The plot included targets in the UK and Europe. The campaign was apparently linked to the Iranian government. According to Facebook, the hackers often posed as aerospace and defense firm representatives in order to build relationships with targets. They would then direct their targets to fraudulent websites designed to steal data and scan computer systems. Facebook says it's hard to know how successful the espionage campaign may have been. The company notified users that may have been targeted and blocked links on its platform to websites controlled by the group. That's a look at today's top national stories. Now, let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Chris. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, at least 58% of all COVID-19 cases now caused by the Delta variant. That's causing health officials to rethink their decisions to roll back many coronavirus restrictions. Los Angeles County has reinstated its mandatory indoor mask rules over the weekend, forcing everyone, including those fully vaccinated, to cover up. Now health experts are encouraging fully vaccinated Americans to continue to wear face masks, especially if they have a compromised immune system. The thinking is that if you have a compromised immune system, the vaccine alone will not be as effective for you as it is for someone with a healthy immune system. Our question for you specifically this morning is, do you still wear a mask in public? It's gotten closer and closer as the show has gone on. 46% of you say, no, not doing it. 41% say yes, and then we've got 12% saying no, didn't wear them in the first place. And of course, you can chime in each and every morning. Feel free to take part in this morning's poll as well, simply by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or checking out the KOAM News Now Facebook page as well. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Glenn Schomburg, who served in the United States Army from 1952 to 54. His hometown, Mound Valley, Kansas. We're proud to salute Glenn Schomburg, a four-state hero. And it just so happens that Glenn Schomber is our first birthday of the day today. He turns 89 years old. So a very happy birthday to Mr. Schomber. And again, thank you for your service to our country.
Happy birthday, Mr. Schomber. Ryder Payton, he's celebrating his first birthday. Hey, he's already behind the wheel.
He's already driving.
Got 15 more years before that happens.
It looks like he's got it down.
Happy birthday to Big Ryder in Joplin.
Calder Bond turning 3 in Pittsburgh. This is Love Grandma and Grandpa, making sure that Calder gets a very happy birthday. So a very happy birthday to you, Calder.
Afton Burns is celebrating her 6th birthday. Afton, happy birthday in Webb City.
We've got Avery Soderman turning 9 in Pittsburgh today. Happy birthday, Avery.
We love the Soderman family. Happy birthday, Avery. Caden Hudson, now 11 years old. Caden, a very happy birthday to you in Chanute.
Also turning 11 today, Cash Williams of Starcoxie, out fishing. And today, unfortunately, not a good day for that, but just about any other day during the summer, great time for fishing.
I guarantee he caught one. He caught one.
I guarantee.
We got the in-action photo.
Cash, thank you, and happy birthday from all of us.
Juan Pizarro celebrating number 17. Juan, a very happy birthday to you as he celebrates in Girard.
Kenna Ludlam turning 20 in Parsons today. Very happy 20th birthday to you, Kenna.
And just up the road from Kenna is Kaylee O'Brien. She is in St. Paul. Kaylee, happy 31.
And Kyle Tedlock in Columbus, turning 32. Good way to celebrate there with Casey Wolf. Very happy birthday to you, Kyle, on your 32nd birthday.
So this is a great name right here. Goes by Christopher Collinsworth, but you could call him Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You certainly could.
Yeah. Christopher, he is 39 in Baxter Springs. And Christopher, I have to pass along a message from Great Aunt Donna. Okay? This is not me saying this. This is Great Aunt Donna. She says, Christopher, start kissing those 30s goodbye.
I'm getting kind of close to that point myself. Ouch! That's a little concerning.
Ouch!
I'm not going to kiss anything goodbye. Ryan Loftmiller.
Hey, what's up, man?
45 in Pittsburgh. So a happy birthday to Ryan today.
Happy birthday, Ryan. Scott Shepard, he is the owner of Green Sun Garden Supply. So anybody who stops in the store today, I want you to make sure that you wish Scott a very happy 46th birthday. Scott's in Joplin.
Larry, a very appropriate name for this day today. Larry Storm in Jasper, turning 63, celebrating his birthday by bringing in a few storms today. Happy birthday, Larry.
Vivian Birch, a happy 74th birthday. Oh, that's a cool picture right there, Vivian.
Very cool picture.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on a cow.
Miss Birch is celebrating her 74th birthday in Columbus.
We've got Bonnie Freeman, 79 years young today in Columbus as well. A very happy birthday to you, Bonnie.
Have one of the Gillard family celebrating a birthday. It's Dennis, as he turns 80 today. Dennis, happy birthday in Girard.
And Norma Bertram, 96 in Joplin, turning 96. Norma, you don't look a day over 30.
It's a gorgeous picture right
there. That is a beautiful picture. Happy birthday, Norma.
Raven Elmore is the daughter of our own business manager, Rhonda Zook. And Raven, a very happy birthday to you. Marvelous family picture right there. I know that little one in the middle doesn't get spoiled by Grandma, does she, Raven? Happy birthday in Columbus.
And then we've got Ryan and Monica Clark celebrating their 6th wedding anniversary in Columbus today. I actually just celebrated the 6th anniversary myself not long ago. 6 great years, and you've got plenty to go. Ryan, Monica, happy anniversary.
Do you guys do the traditional?
We do not. The only traditional thing we do is we send the kids away for a day, and we just kind of lounge around the house and enjoy that time.
I think that's a great tradition right there. In Weir, Mike and Mary Ann Horgan, they're celebrating their 57th anniversary. Congratulations, Mike and Mary Ann.
We've got Pepper Martin.
This is interesting. This is really interesting.
Something's interesting. What's going on?
So we've had a Chris Collinsworth, and now we've got a Pepper Martin, former linebacker.
This is we've had this discussion with Jacob Leonard before.
This is great.
My level of sports knowledge.
There's cool names.
They are very cool names,
Yeah.
regardless of what you know about the world around you. These are some pretty good names here. Pepper Martin, though, turning 89 in Columbus. Happy birthday.
Jane Coombs, a happy 87th birthday. Jane is celebrating in St. Paul.
Another Jane, Jane Martin, celebrating in Parsons today. Happy birthday, Jane.
I thought we were going to get through it without me chastising somebody for not sending in a picture. But no. Eventually, Mike and Lori, I'm gonna find you. They'll probably be at the grocery store or a ball field. You know that. But I do want to wish you congratulations on your 27th anniversary. Love the Cole family.
Anniversary. And we've also got Ted and Linda Garrison celebrating an anniversary today in Columbus. Ted, Linda, go out there, enjoy it the best you can on this rainy day.
Now, Perry and Jane Townsend, they actually celebrated their 32nd anniversary yesterday in Redfield. But Perry and Jane, what we want you to do is go ahead and continue your anniversary celebration all throughout this weekend as well. Congratulations once again.
We've got Dr. Harry Cunningham turning 82 in Cherryvale today. 82 years young. Dr. Cunningham, happy birthday.
And Chris, you may remember that we started off our birthday list with one of our four-state heroes. Well, Clifford Birdsong happens to be another one of our four-state heroes. And him and his marvelous wife, Joan, have now been married for 64 years. Congratulations to the Birdsongs in Girard. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Now, here's Chris Warner with a very important birthday announcement.
This is the most important announcement that you're going to receive all day. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club, and all you need to do is go to our website to sign up. And here's the best part. You can get special deals from local businesses. So what I want you to do, as soon as we're done here, is go to KOAMNewsNow.com, sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club, make sure you get in there and get those special deals and all the excitement that comes along with being a part of that. Michael!
Don't do it yet. Do it after the show, because I'm going to come back and update the Skywatch Storm Tracker.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to be questioned on Saturday in connection with the probe into allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct against him. That's according to a source familiar with the New York Attorney General's investigation into the governor. Cuomo also faces an impeachment inquiry in the state assembly. Jasper County authorities are searching for two suspects in connection with a shooting in Airport Drive. Sheriff's Department says witnesses reported hearing gunshots in the parking lot of Harp's grocery store around 1:35 Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they found evidence in the parking lot of a possible shooting, including evidence of, quote, possible injuries. Authorities say they've located the victims, a 22-year-old Webb City woman and a 33-year-old man from California. Jasper County Sheriff's Office released a description of the possible suspects. They say the driver was a black man driving a dark red Kia SUV. His passenger, another suspect, is a black man with 4 braids in his hair and neck tattoos. That's a check of today's top headlines. That's the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Torrential rain dominating northeast Oklahoma and southwest Missouri south of I-44. Flooding is our main concern. Now, Chris and I were talking about looking at the back building that we see on the western edge of southeast Kansas, and yes, it does exist, and that's why this is going to last for a couple more hours. But really, after we get through that last group, we're not seeing a whole lot build in central Kansas. Also of note, the heavy rain that we were experiencing earlier in Barton and Vernon counties in southwest Missouri beginning to break just a little bit, but still, it is coming down just about everywhere throughout the 4 states. That has led us to not only pay attention to the lightning tracker, but also to all the flash flood watches, warnings, and countywide flood warnings that we have all the way until this afternoon. Know that we're not talking about the possibility of flooding. We are already there.
Something absolutely you got to watch out for, and we've been saying it all morning. Yeah, and that's the other thing. It seems like every time I fill in with you, it's raining.
It is. I thought about that this morning.
It's like raining every single time because I don't know when I've used turn around, don't drown more than I have on the morning show with you. But the thing is that phrase is exceedingly important to remember this morning. Turn around, don't drown.
And remember, you can find the Department of Transportation travel pages, complete with road closures, on our website. All you have to do is go to KOAMnewsnow.com, and also to any additional warnings, watches that pop up, we'll have those for you on the Skywatch weather app, and we also post those on our Facebook pages as well. I want to thank you all for joining us here on this Friday edition of the KOAM Morning News. Have a great weekend. Do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again on Monday morning.